And we're back. Welcome to Print Your Games, the podcast about what's new and awesome in 3D printing and gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Jefferson J. Thacker, also known as Param, and I'm joined by...
Kristen Sowards, also known as Seventh Mastery.
Oh, Kristen, we have had a heck of a roller coaster of a week with 3D printing news. And so I've been itching for this episode to get here. This was actually going to be last week's episode, and then I'm very glad it wasn't, because holy crap, a whole bunch of stuff dropped.
Yes.
For those of you who are not in the know, Anycubic's been teasing new printers. Ender's been teasing new printers. Creality's been teasing new printers. And Elegoo.
The ending why Elegoo has to have a new one.
Right. Exactly. It's been weeks since we've talked about their new printers. So
days.
Gotta have one.
So they've got to have one.
Yeah. And then Elegoo was just like out of nowhere, Saturn 4s are coming. And it's just like, what? But the Saturn 3, we just had Saturn 3. And I had my suspicions. When they started announcing, because they like showed off the silhouette of the printer. I'm like, oh, I see what's happened here. And I thought I was all smart. I thought I was like, the unification GK2, uniformation, not unification. Uniformation GK2. Everybody's bragging about how awesome this printer is. And it is a very awesome printer. It is
okay.
Everything a Saturn 3 Ultra is, with a bunch of convenience features thrown on top of it. Like pressure sensitive build plate that releases the text that the print has released from the film, and like not just internal heaters, but it actually heats the vat of resin itself, not just the chamber it's sitting in, and like cameras and filters and just wireless coolness and all these fun toys that just make print, like, takes a lot of the frustration parts of 3D printing and then combines them with a very, very nice 10.1 inch high resolution screen for very crisp, very high quality prints.
Nice. So, do we know the pixel dimensions? Are they the weird rectangly ones, or are they actually like?
I don't know.
Uniform. That's okay. I was just curious, because that's the weird thing. It's like my one hang up with a high end printer, I swear. It's like they've been all so cool, and then like you get this little weird. I'm like, that's gonna look. I mean, like if you look at it, like, microscope close, but still.
Right. And for the last little bit, that's been the narrative amongst the printer channels is, oh wow, this is the new best printer in town, and it's a little bit pricey. It's like $800 to get the GK2.
Okay, that's a little out of my casual range.
Yeah. But like, I get it. Like, it's a premium printer with lots of like premium, what do we call them? Convenience features, like lots of little comfort convenience features. And the other thing the GK2 does is like it loads resin cartridges in the back and autofills the bed and knows exactly how much resin it needs and how much resin's left in the bottle, and will tell you if you don't have enough.
So you say resin cartridge, so you can still use any brand you want? Or do you have to
use their
proprietary cartridges?
Proprietary cartridges.
There you go. That's the secret underbelly right there. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, their resin is price competitive to everybody else's, so it's not the end of the world
compared to the stuff I buy.
No. Because the stuff you buy, I'm pretty sure, comes down like Grandpa's Hooch Distillery is how you get that resin.
I mean, you're not wrong.
They put a milk jug full of alcohol on a post, and it's time to go get your new batch. But compared to the normal stuff, like but like all these convenient features, and I know that Elegoo's been feeling the heat, because before they were like, cock of the walk. They had the best printers going, and everybody was talking about how awesome the Saturn 3 Ultra is. I have a Saturn 3 Ultra. I love it to pieces. The print quality and the speed on that thing is just so nice, and all the little convenient features they added to that has made my life so nice, so much easy to print. So I was interested. I was happy and excited to talk about whatever this new Saturn 4 Ultra was. But like most technology, I skip every other generation, because that's when you get a bunch of features. And then Anycubic, they have their new printer out, and it is exactly what I said that this was going to be. It is what if GK2 but cheaper with
Mm-hmm.
all the same convenience features, auto bed leveling that actually works, and like really cool features that the new Saturn 4 has. Like, I'm going to start talking about all the cool features the new Saturn 4 and the Anycubic both have, because they both released very similar printers at almost the exact same time.
All right. All
So
right.
it's got auto bed leveling, which is a pretty neat trick. They just put springs on the build plate, and the build plate presses and the springs flatten it. It's a elegant, simple solution to a problem. So you
Mm-hmm.
never need to level this build plate. It just automatically levels itself when it prints. And
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
it also has um, it residue detection and level detection on the resin, so it will know, hey, I don't have enough resin left to do this print, and it will warn you before you get going. And it also has, hey, there's something in the vat I can't print, or I'll stop the print because a piece has fallen into the vat, so we do not want that to get in the way. Like,
Wow.
lots of cool features to protect your
Mm-hmm.
FEP and all. Like, that's really great. That's really great. And the Anycubic version even has a chamber heater in it. So, like, you plug it into what would be the air filtration slot, but it's got more juice.
Okay.
So it air filtrates and heats the chamber so that
So we're
you
talking
can
about the
print in the
print chamber under the hood.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't print the vat itself. It just heats the chamber, which is an option. You can get those aftermarket now. There's like lots of really like purpose made ones. I think even Sunloo's got one now.
Sure, sure. And I imagine it's just like, any room temperature situation. If you're leaving that heater in there long enough before you start your print, your resin's going to be at temp anyway.
Exactly.
So
exactly. It's a solution to the problem
without having to put coils around your vat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I know, like, a lot of people like the band heating solution where
Mhm.
they like wrap a heating band around the vat and stuff like that. And so that's what the Anycubic did. So it's like, aha, it's the GK2 but cheaper.
Right,
And
right.
it's nice. It's nice. Like, honestly, Anycubic, good going for you. And also ultra high speed printing with like improved FEP films. I think
Mhm.
it's are they doing, I don't know which one they're doing. ACF. I think Anycubic's doing ACF, but they might be doing PFA.
Nice.
Elegoo has gone from ACF to PFA now,
Mhm.
which is not as release sensitive. Like, it's not as how do you say not sticky? Like, what's a good? It's slippery. It's not quite as slippery as ACF.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Not quite as slippery, so wouldn't it be has less
I don't know. I don't know what the correct word here is. It lets go of prints easier than standard FEP, but not as good as ACF. But the thing about ACF is cloudy, and some
Right.
people say it reduces print quality. I haven't noticed, and if you pull out a microscope, you can see it. It's not a problem the Saturn 3 Ultra has, but other printers that have had it do sometimes have, like, it's basically putting it's like you're getting anti-aliasing whether you liked it or not.
Right.
So it can soften some crispness on some printers. The Saturn 3 Ultra avoided it because of some Fresnel lenses that they put into their UV to make them more precise than average.
How does that work? Why does it make it more precise? I'm curious.
It reduces the light spread when it hits the.
Okay.
It makes the light go straighter when it hits the vat.
More focused.
Sure.
Sorry.
Anyways, it has less light bleed.
Yes, got it.
And that's becoming more and more common with these printers, so that's great.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I thought that this is what the Saturn 4 was going to be. And in a lot of the ways, it is. It has all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has a one feature that has, in my opinion, made all other mid-sized 3D printers irrelevant.
Irrelevant. That is a word, sir. That is a word.
So, I remember a few years ago, or maybe it's a couple of years ago, or maybe just 1 year ago. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Prussia's tricked out SL1 printer, like their super fast speed printer. And because its solution to print faster was to not move the build plate, it was to move the vat.
Right.
And it was incredibly effective. People that tested that printer was like, wow, if you just want pure speed, this is the printer to get. But it didn't have like all the right features in all the right places. There were like the Mars 3 was ultimately a sharper printer.
Right. You mentioned that.
And also it was $2,500 to get that cool feature to print faster.
Pish, pish, pish.
So it became like this super premium printer that had a really cool trick. Elegoo has put that in the Saturn IV Ultra. It has a Z tilting bed plate. When the Saturn IV Ultra is printing, the print bed barely moves. It doesn't move visibly. It just stays in place and the bed moves. The bed tilts down and gently peels the thing off, so you have very little suction force to deal with. And then the bed just moves that 0.1 of a millimeter up to make room for the next layer.
Wow.
And it just sits there and wiggles. It wiggles a print and it print. So they were not shy about sending this printer out to review units, because that's a thing to brag about. But then you're like, I need to see it to believe it.
Right.
And they knew that. So they sent this printer out to almost everybody with a printer channel. Almost everybody.
Not us.
Not us. Our YouTube channel is not big enough. Sorry, gang. We love our YouTube audience. We love you. We love you. But one of the things that they have going for them is that there's lots of people that have now put out reviews that have been testing this printer for weeks.
Right.
And so from Uncle Jesse, Fallhammer, and a dozen other channels, from cosplayers to freaking people that make train models, they've been playing with this printer for weeks. And the verdict is in. It freaking works. It works as advertised. It prints at it takes a third of the time to print a model on this as it does on the Saturn III Ultra, which is even already twice as fast as a Saturn II.
I'm starting to feel very behind, Param. Just saying. Go on. Yeah.
Perspective. If a model took 8 hours to print on a original Mars and took 4 hours to print on a Saturn II or a Saturn 1 when monochrome made things, and the Saturn III cut that in half, so 4-hour models were printing in 2 hours, the Saturn IV Ultra prints that same model in 40 minutes.
Wow.
It's kind of nuts. And the tests are in. Everybody's done the speed test. All these channels have been printing with it for weeks, so we have a lot of people have verified these claims. It really does print this fast. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. And they said $400.
Dang.
That's the price of the old Saturn. That's less than the launch price of the Saturn III Ultra.
I think I have like magic cards sitting in a stack right over there. I could just go like trade for that. And it's not even that many.
I know, like that's the thing. It's like it's incredible feature suite on this Saturn III Ultra, and then they come in with a price that freaking aggressive. Like this is the same price as like last year's premiums. Like not even last year's premiums. Last year's mainlines. Like it's under the launch price of the Saturn III Ultra. It's about the same as an old Saturn III. It's about what I pay. Is it about what I paid, or even less than I paid for my original Saturn? Like this is like the perfect like it's a bit more expensive than most what we would call small entry printers, but
not much.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. David says you look really excited. I'm just going to say the only reason I don't look quite as excited, David, is A, I have a lot of beard on my face, and B, I'm a little bit shocked because that's a really, really low price for what this is.
Yeah. It's just insane. It's just like, I cannot believe that this feature set. So what do you get? It's the same print. It's the same screen. It's the same screen as the Saturn III Ultra. So like the same quality. Nothing has changed there. Same resolution, same size, same build plate volume. But what you're getting added onto this, like I almost don't even want to talk about the Saturn IV, the non-Ultra, because of how insane this is.
You should, though. You should. Yeah. Let's hear both.
So, you've got the front tilting lid, which is like it's like it doesn't matter, but like if you like that, it's there. So you don't lift the lid off; you just lift it up. And I like that more than the doors. I like the lift lid more than the open doors on the front because it gets out of the way.
Yeah,
I do like that. The difference is you do need 4 inches behind the printer to make room for the lid.
I mean, to be honest, I usually still have my old reliable emergency cookie sheet underneath the printer.
Mhm.
So shifting things around so that pushes
Mhm.
it, you know, 4 inches out. Eric Davis says you still have to add a handle to the lid.
I do.
I mean,
Hmm.
Eric, I don't know about you, but I actually got really cheap suction cup
That's what I
hooks,
did.
and it just works just fine. And I've been able to transfer them to printer to printer. So
Right. And there's the spring loaded build plate. Like there's such an elegant solution to this problem. It's
just
just always going to be level.
so many things that aren't going to be hassles on this thing.
It's got built-in Wi-Fi, but it's the cool sort of wireless printer to where all you're doing is loading it. Basically, it's taking this and you no longer sneakernet. I've had this on the 3 Ultra and it's perfect. It's just drag your file onto printer, then go to printer and still print, but you don't have to keep track of USB drives.
That's that alone.
I don't want to start a print from my room. That like I get why you might want to, and I think that this is capable of that if you want to run a print farm
But
setup
why?
like that.
I'd
But
still want to go in and
yeah,
see that everything's in good shape, that the resin tank looks good, that everything's clean. Like you're just asking for headaches if you can just kick it off. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine the trouble I would get in. Can you imagine? I am a cautionary tale, folks. And if I could just start a printer without going and looking at it, no, let's not do that. Do not give me that power.
I forgot to mention the built-in camera that both watches for print failures and can save time lapses of your prints. So if you want to say put your prints on your TikTok channel, you now can.
I'm hearing of justifiable business expense is what I'm hearing.
Oh yeah, Lord knows it's a business expense for me.
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's also got the smart sensors to know if like there's something in the vat so that it doesn't puncture your screen, and if you've got enough resin in there, all that fun stuff. It's got this new latch where you've so that I don't know if this is good or not, but that's just
no, that looks great. That looks fabulous to me. Just to slide it off.
You're not going to accidentally leave it unscrewed. Is what's going to not happen.
Who's ever done that?
And then it's got it's got tempered glass LCD protector, so you don't even need to worry about the screen protector.
But what am I going to say at the end of the show?
Well, other people don't have those.
That's fair.
And it's using PFA. It's using an all metal housing, so no plastic. So yeah, it's got all the features. It's got everything you could freaking want in a printer right now, except for it doesn't have a heater. That's the one thing I was surprised about. They're releasing a heater for it a couple of months later, but it will not ship with the heater.
Troy asks, how well does unused resin drain off the fancy build plate? I don't think we have that answer. Do we?
I'm going to just dunk it in my wash and cure station that I can still use because it's the exact same size build plate.
That's also kind of nice. I mean, let's be honest, that build plate's pretty big for just about anything you could want.
They do say you have to leave the lid off of the wash while you're running the wash, because it's taller.
That's fair.
Yeah. In the other, it also has, this is a new feature, power loss resume printing. So even if the power goes out in the middle of a print, it will remember where it was at and resume the print. So you don't.
If I have a print fail in less than 40 minutes of print time, I'm probably not going to care, but okay.
Well, that's for your standard, Space Marine sized infantry.
Sure. If I'm printing a dragon, maybe I would be more upset.
Yeah. You might want to print all night and max out the 220 millimeter tall print volume. That is a downside. That is a downgrade from the Saturn 3 because the build plate is so much chunkier. You lose 40 millimeters on the vertical.
Well, I mean, if this is our major downside, I'm still not too mad about it, honestly.
Yeah, but let's compare it to there's also the Saturn 4. So let's say you want to just spend $300 instead of $400.
Yeah.
You get all the same features except the wiggle plate. You get everything but the wiggle plate. So you still get the auto leveling, all the AI stuff. You don't get the built-in camera if you have to provide your own camera.
Okay. Interesting.
And
Eric's asking or saying
you don't get the Z tilt.
Comes with a bib spell plate for removing the bill plate. Okay, so that's nice to know. And then
Oh,
Lava
yeah.
Beings asking, what's the longest time you can print on something like this? Until you run out of resin, really, right?
Well, you're going to eventually reach the Z limit. So it prints at 150 millimeters per hour,
Mm-hmm.
and it has 220 millimeters. So 2.5 hours is about the best you're going to get.
Oh, they're asking if there's Wi-Fi on the 4.
There is Wi-Fi on the 4 Ultra,
But not on the 4.
Not on the 4.
Okay, so it's missing a couple things. Missing the camera
Yeah,
and that. I mean, we're
it's
starting
the
to get to the
camera,
point
the
where
wiggle plate,
starting to get to
and
the point where that $100 is not sounding unreasonable to me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the wiggle plate is the game changer. Like
Right.
that is what is speeding up print times insanely. Because it doesn't just speed up print times. It does two things. This is a gentler release. So models will fail less often. Because right now the prints have to pull it off of a flat surface, and that is the most possible amount of suction that you can put on an object. So you're putting the most stress on those supports. You're putting the most stress on non-hollowed print areas. The suction force is huge, but anybody that's ever removed a suction cup knows how easy it is the second you just get that first little peel going.
Yeah.
And it will just very gently peel off entirely. So not only is it super fast, it's also going to print with much more success, and theoretically you will need less support on the model.
Right. Lava Being asked if it was wiggle plates available as an upgrade later. No, I don't think that's possible.
That has to be built into the house.
Right.
It's got this like full mechanism inside of it to call, like you can't just aftermarket that, unfortunately.
Troy is mentioning the green hood looks so cool. I have to say, there seems to be a little bit of zeitgeist moving towards that translucent fluorescent plastic again. So maybe we'll see more of it. I keep hearing things about people talking about that, and yeah. So,
Elegoo, you're missing an opportunity. Sell us replacement hoods in a variety of colors.
It seriously, it would happen. You know, it would. People would buy it.
Because like, imagine like if I get my full print shop going and I have like a full pride shelf of resin printers.
That's funny. Like honestly, the red basic Saturn hood would work in here if I was to put it up. But...
and like the Saturn 4 coming in at 300 is already crazy good. The Saturn 4 Ultra coming in at 400 is just literally a game changer in the industry.
Right.
And I feel bad for Anycubic launching the Ilm 5S.
Right, I mean, didn't they even kind of have like a salty tweet the other day about it?
They did have a salty tweet about it today, talking about how measuring the vertical distance. And honestly, both you companies, for shame. You're cheating. You're both cheating, Elegoo and Anycubic, because they're like, we can print this many inches per hour. And I'm like, right. How what's your print layers? In like 0.5, 0.03. I like to print at 0.03 these days because printer go fast and that gives me more quality. And I don't have to worry about the speed anymore because print go fast. One. They're printing at 0.1 millimeter. FDM printers can print 0.1 millimeter.
I mean,
you're not taking advantage of the resin at that point anymore.
With some working conversion on most of them, but sure.
Yeah. And then like some of them were advertising at 0.2, and I'm like, that is the default setting for a filament printer.
Yes, true.
Yeah. It's like, don't ever show me those numbers because those are just BS. Like 0.5 is the de facto default for most people when they're printing in resin. So if you're going to show me millimeters per hour, show them to me at 0.5 because that's the one that matters. And maybe I want to point at 0.3, especially with these 14K screens. And again, 14K, like as a lot of like Fallhammer says, like that's just like it means nothing. But since now we're talking mostly about mid-size printers as the standard de facto printer going on, I kind of think we're going to see small printers, small form factor just phase out. I think everybody's going to be moving to mid-size at this point, especially now that the price range, like you can get the Mars 4 Plus which is like the rebranded Saturn 2 for like $200 now. It's just maybe even less on a sale.
There's that
So like
question again about the pixels, by the way.
rectangular, they're
Yeah.
rectangular pixels on the Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
I think the I think the GK2 has square pixels. I think that's another reason people like the GK2.
I mean,
So
it's a
you're still
tiny
talking
gray.
23 microns on the
Yeah, I
long
know,
size and
I
17
know, I
microns on the
know.
short. You can't see that.
But I know it's there, Param. I just know it.
Turn on anti-aliasing and you'll never even know it.
All right.
Oh, Anycubic is not done though. They do have a cool trick up their sleeve that I want to give them credit for.
What's that?
They are releasing an ALMS system for their Cobra printers.
Oh,
So Cobra printers are good printers. They're kind of like the Neptune line. I know that some of us are having problems with the Neptunes.
mm-hmm.
But it's the same idea. It's like a bed slinger printer with all the features and clipper to print super fast.
Mm-hmm.
And now instead of having to get a whole new printer, they're releasing a multi-material system, so you can have multi-filament going, multi-colors prints on the printer you already got. If you have a Cobra, like you don't have to buy a new one. Just it looks like you have to replace the print head, and that makes sense. And then you just set it next to it. It's a box that holds 4 rolls of filament and then feeds it into the printer as needed. So that's cool. That's neat.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm almost wondering sometimes if that wouldn't be better, like those sort of boxes, than the standard spools. Because I like, particularly on my Neptunes, I feel like there's a lot of wobble on my filament thing, which sometimes causes that thing where it'll spin forward too far, right? And then there's a loop. And then the next turn of it can catch your filament strand under the loop. And then when that pulls back down to that level, as it tightens, it can actually constrict around the filament and stop it from, it tugs it. And then that can mess up your print.
Oh, there's a few fun toys there. So you can get like external filament boxes that dry your filament. Our fan of the show, David. Shout out to David. I know he's watching right now. Watching from his game store. So that's cool.
That's cool. Hello, game store.
Links me. Sunloos has a filament drying box that you can put, which for PLA, not so really important. Like as long as your environment is reasonably controlled, you're fine. But when you're starting to print nylon or there's another material I'm trying to think that's really vulnerable. Nylon's the worst. If you want to print in nylon, you need a filament dryer box. So it dries the filament and feeds it to the printer at the same time. So like keeps it dry all the way to the print head, then prints with it. Yeah. So there's certain filaments that if you're just printing in PLA, you don't need a dryer box, but they do also make other like boxes that are just like cool wheel setups that you set next to your printer that just more gently feeds the filament than the current stick on the side of it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And there's also a lot of, if you look for your printer, a lot of them will have a optional printable upgrade where you can replace the stick with a new version of the stick that integrates a bearing so that it spins a lot smoother and has less catches and kinks. So a good first print if you want to upgrade. Something like that.
That might not be a bad idea because I do, like I said, I do feel like it's got a little opportunity there. That definitely caused some fails for me when that looping thing happened. So I don't know. It's actually, I think, because they're faster and that moving the motion creates like a little bit of like a wiggle sometimes on the filament spool. I don't know. Been weird. Like FDM, as everyone who's listened to the show for any amount of time, has always been a little challenging for me, and it just has. And I don't know exactly why. I guess it's just because I'm not that DIY, like DIY. DIY. See, I don't even know how to say it. It's not my vibe. I don't want to like hack my thing up and replace, like literally getting told to replace the print head the day I order it is like,
Oh
no, I'm not doing it.
no.
So
I am so sorry.
no, it's
I'm
okay.
like, especially since I'm just like over here with like my slew of Neptunes going, yay, castles.
Yeah, not my general experience. So
Shout out to Voxel Forge who just joined chats. Howdy, howdy. We've also got Lava Being, David, Eric Davis, Troy, and maybe I missed somebody else.
James was here earlier, I think.
Oh yeah, James. Hey James.
Yeah.
That is a good reminder that Print Your Games records in front of a live YouTube, Facebook, Twitch audience, and also other things.
Yes, sometimes.
So catch us live, and you can ask questions in chat, and we will answer them.
Voxel also says might go for a bamboo. I'm thinking about it too. It's looking pretty spicy. So
Pat Tackett in chat. He's one of my local game group. Nice to see you. There's been another thing I've been seeing. I saw this on a Facebook group, which is so it's been fairly common lately to, if you want to control the environment of your printer, one of the things you can do is you can just get a grow tent and put on top of your printer, like little bitty enclosures, thermal enclosures that you often have attachment places so that you can put ventilation systems and all this fun stuff. And so if you want to print ABS and you don't have if you want to print ABS at all, that stuff's toxic as crap, so you definitely need to have something like this to vent your print stuff out and keep all the toxic fumes, and also temperature control and climate control the printer, but so you can put it in your basement. So evidently they make these so big you can walk in them.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that, like almost like a chem hut.
Yeah, something called a green hut I've been seeing being used around lately, which is huge. It is so big you can walk into it, and then you can just set up a whole print room in your basement that's completely controlled with like several ventilation holes and like thermal controlled interiors and insulated tent. Like it looks crazy. It looks like it looks kind of nuts, and they're like $200-$300 depending on how big you want to get it.
Yeah,
and they come in like humongous, basically bigger than anything I would want to print in, to like a closet, just like a small closet. That's a neat trick. It's not a brand new printer, but
no, but it could definitely, like, especially if you're struggling or you've got an unfinished basement, you want to use any number of things. I don't know that it would work outside, but maybe if you had a shed outside.
If you have a shed, most of your situations, like, because this way
temperature
you're only
control.
Because it's an insulated section. So if you put a heater in there and had it on temperature control, you wouldn't be wasting heat into a non-insulated shed and basically throwing stuff. This is a thing that you do need to worry about if you're in the 3D printing hobby, is you're going to be using a lot more electricity. And I swear, when I first started 3D printing, I was getting the strangest looks in the middle of COVID with people coming to the door to deliver stuff, because I would like go up to the door and wave, but I'd be working on my printer. So I had like the respirator on and the gloves, and I had like all the out, and like I'm picking up like an order of like 5 gallons of IPA. And
yeah. Voxel says looking for Mr. White. I'm imagining, a little Breaking Bad vibe there, a little going on. For me, my funnier one was when someone misread my power meter once, and I didn't get the police. I had the FBI show up.
Why?
Because someone had misread it by like 40,000 kilowatts or something, or like they recorded it down. I was like, I couldn't power this building for a year for that, whatever it was. It was a lot. And so I had to let them, like, I didn't have to, but I let them walk my entire apartment, and they were like super sus back then. So I don't think most of our 3D printing people will have that, but
just be aware. Yeah, nice stuff. So does any of this convince you that 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 things have changed or you need to get this printer? Does
I
the
mean,
next printer from Anycubic have to have Z tilt or like
have
what's
to
up?
no, but at a $400 price point, it probably better. Like that we have had some positive experiences with Anycubic, but we might have had a little bit more or less positive experiences. I'm not do your own whatever, but I'm going to be very hesitant to buy an Anycubic that doesn't compete with this, honestly. And frankly, I'm getting pretty close to due for a new resin printer, and unless something comes out swinging better than that 4 Ultra, I hate to continue to be an Elegoo stan, but like at least for resin, still looking at you, Neptune. Anyway,
Poor Neptunes.
honestly, I think I should just maybe like look at FDM as a whole until I can get like a bamboo like Voxel wants, because those just seem to be much better. Everybody wants the pretty maker box that just you open it up and there's a dragon laying on the plate ready for it to go. That's the experience I want at this point, because having to noodle with every GD thing, and like was still really surprised that the 4 came in so many pieces. Like the 4 is just like,
I'm surprised mine 4 didn't come in so many pieces.
Really?
It was very easy to put together.
No, like the 3 was in like 2 or 3 pieces, not counting the pad, you know. The 4 mine was just a pile of pieces. It was weird.
For me, it was just put the arm on, attach the print head, put the sensor, run out sensor, because that was now a freestanding thing at the top of the printer. So that was one extra piece. Yeah. I was surprised it's just a little wobbly guy. Like I thought this would be like more firmly mounted, but it's just a little wobbly guy.
Felt a little cheap. I'm not gonna lie. Felt a little cheap. I was a little surprised. Guess how many pieces your bamboo was? Tell me. 1? Please say 1, David. It might be the last thing I need to hear. David.
I think you have to put the screen in the front of it.
Oh, okay.
And then plug it in.
Because that's starting to look pretty spicy. And like I said, I have a pile of magic cards that I don't play because they're red. And maybe
if I remember the setup videos I've watched on the bamboo, the most complicated part of that is removing the foam from it.
Does the AMS count as one piece?
Oh, yeah. David did also spring for the AMS system to put on
or
top
the power
of
cable. Okay.
Now you're just rubbing salt in the wound.
Yes,
David.
He is.
I mean, yeah, I'm drooling over the bamboos like everybody else, and evidently, and that's the other printer I wanted to bring up. Creality has a K1C, a new version of their K1. Now, when they launched the K1, it was obviously their answer to the bamboo, and it came out to not very kind reviews. It had some problems. Like it wasn't like it had some stability problems and wasn't able to really punch in that space. But now they've gone back to the drawing board. They released the K1C, and all the reviews are, hey, this is a legit alternative to the bamboo. Like if you want a not bamboo and you want it from Creality, this is an option for you.
I mean, it looks pretty nice. I think that's actually my buddy has that, and he did some printing recently that was very impressive. He actually, did I mention this? He wanted to prove it was good enough to just print a resin file unmodified. So he did a resin file with resin supports and printed it on that, and it worked.
I love this flex that they're doing. Like, what are you printing? A shovel.
A shovel.
A shovel.
I just was blown away that he did a large size. So like, we're talking like 50 millimeter, right? Base sort of wolves with resin supports. They snapped off clean. Like I was like,
wow.
It looked like almost like a resin print. I could see the layer lines, but it was tight. So yeah, very impressed. And that was the exact printer we're looking at.
Oh yeah, the quick slop nozzles. You just pull them magnetically from the bottom and then just magnetically slap one back up in there.
Dang.
It's like it's this warning, let nozzle cool before you change it.
They literally say unicorn nozzle.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, and what's the price on the K1C? Um, 559 with, and it's fully
Wow.
enclosed. Whereas the Bamboo P1S, which I think is the one. Let me check the price on that because they've been changing lately.
The unenclosed one was super cheap. That actually were on sale on TikTok of all places.
The P1P, which is the unenclosed one, the one I'm looking at, is 600. So it's significantly cheaper
Yeah,
because it's 700 if you want the fully enclosed P1S.
gotcha.
Mm-hmm. All right, good stuff. So, are you tempted by the Saturn 4?
Absolutely. Is it going to happen right away? Probably not. In fact, I'm probably going to be waiting till that next price band drop because it's going to, especially as we get closer to the holidays. I can't just. I got a lot of travel going on this summer, which may be relevant to our hobby.
Right.
But I have a lot of travel going on, and so I'm probably going to be a little circumspect about a printer that I'm not going to get to use nearly as much as I want to, right? But it's coming. It's definitely coming down the pipe, I think. I mean, unless I get like super thirsty and liquidate something really fast.
Yeah, I snapped that thing up in the heart second.
The Ultra, yeah, I was about to say, I think you said you were thinking about it. You pulled the trigger?
Oh yeah, I pulled the trigger instant. Like as soon as I saw the reviews coming in that it actually was living up to its promises, I'm like, nah, this is absolutely the printer to get.
So is that price point on pre-order only, or was it just the standard price point?
I think it's the pre-order price point, but you know how Elegoo goes. It's the pre-order price point, and then they're going to launch, and it's going to be like a month or two at the retail price point,
right?
And then it's going to drop like almost immediately that back down to the pre-order price point on a sale. So the real price is $400.
Yeah,
you might end up paying $500 if your timing is bad.
Right.
They're also saying this is a June shipment, so 2 months from now.
Oh wow,
which is pretty fast.
Pretty fast compared to usual.
But the heater doesn't come till November, which I guess is August. The heater doesn't come till August, which I guess I'm not going to need it till August. So
probably not. I mean,
I'm not going to need it at all, really, because I have a temperature controlled room I print in.
Sure. Yeah.
And for me, the main justification here is I needed a second printer. Because of my work, I am running into situations where I don't need a second printer all the time, but there are times I need it. And during the busy season, I need that second printer. And so having a second printer was going to be in the cards, and I was probably just going to order another Saturn 3 Ultra.
Right.
And then this came out,
work.
and it was like, well, that solved that problem.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were talking to, was it the 3D print in last week, and he's worked his way up to 12 in just a couple of years. I can see it. I can see it happening. If I had any justification for that kind of expansion, I would probably. I mean, I already have what. I mean,
the pieces are already in motion to change the game room around here, so the back wall has got a wall of printers in it.
Yeah. Cool. Any other new peripherals we've missed? Anything?
Nothing's popping up in my brain right now. I thought this was enough.
I feel like no, it's great. I think we probably have like a generation of cleaning and curing accessories probably right on the tail of this, right, in a couple month or two.
Well, yeah. Well, the Saturn 4 will be able to use the XS, so the existing cleaning system. So that's not.
So you don't really. I mean, you could. There'll still probably be an upgraded one. I'll bet you. But yeah, because they always innovate.
And they tried to innovate recently. I forget which company did this, and I'm about to badmouth it, so it's probably good I don't name the company. Where they tried to change how you do the wash. So instead of submerging in the alcohol, it was spraying the alcohol like on the print and like spinning the print around and spraying the crap out of it. And then letting the alcohol drain out and then collect. That's just a bad system, honestly.
It didn't work, yeah.
Well, there's a big problem. Like, if all you're worried about is surface alcohol, you're fine. It'll get rid of that. But you're not you're not saving on any alcohol, because the alcohol, you still need enough alcohol to get the job done. And whether you're using a whole bunch of it at once or spraying it on the part, you're still going to burn through about the same amount of alcohol as it saturates with resin. So you're not saving any
Right.
alcohol.
Right.
You're just saving how much you need at one time.
I think we mentioned something like that in the last clean
And it
episode, right?
can't clean hollowed prints.
Yes. Yes, exactly one of the problems we mentioned, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric's asking, can what could they really improve? I always think a little bit more of a, intense light usually, because we've still seen some weird, usually really good, but occasionally I still have to sun cure something that's bigger and has like weird textures. So
I would like a cure station that assumes you're going to water cure.
that would be interesting. I wonder what the changes would look like.
Because right now I just have a giant jug that I put into my printer.
Yes, well, even the 3D print guy, 3D print den guy uses a big tub. He said, Voxelforge asked if you went to Adepticon. Param did go to Adepticon. I did not get to go, but
I did. I enjoyed Adepticon. It was a whole lot of work. A whole lot of business got done. I met some really fun people, and you might have seen some teasers about some of the things we got up to hitting on the YouTube lately. It's weird seeing myself in certain YouTube channels.
But not bad weird, right? Good weird.
Yeah, it's good weird.
Good weird.
Good weird. Yeah, just super weird. Yeah. But hey, we got some fun 1-page rule stuff coming up down the pipe soon that I'm working really, 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 really stupidly, ridiculously hard on.
I'm excited. I might get to poke around at some of it too a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, that's fun.
I have a couple other things to toss out.
Okay, what's up?
As we a couple episodes back talked to Comet Lord and talked about upcoming campaign. That campaign is live. There's still, I want to say, a couple weeks left. And this is just something I want to say high level. First off, we have no direct affiliation with Comet Lord. We are not like whatever sponsored or anything.
Sponsors.
Right.
The show doesn't take sponsors.
Correct. I mean, put enough zeros there, we'll reconsider that. Anyway, but what I wanted to say is campaign is active. It's live. I just in general, this is a general thing about crowdfunding. Alternative platforms also mean oftentimes like a little bit less exposure. Kickstarter does a lot of things to put their stuff on social media. And if you're not on something like a Frontier, you can get less exposure. I feel like it's such an amazing campaign and it's not getting eyes on because it is on BackerKit.
It's on BackerKit?
I believe directly. Anyway, so I would just say, go check that campaign if you haven't yet. It's still got couple weeks left, I believe, and it's a really cool thing. It's got 5e stats. It's got so many cool things. But I would go check it out, and it's getting there. But it's I feel like it should be way further along than this by now. So anyway, he's a friend of the show. We love him. We'll put the link in the show notes, Eric, I'm sure. So, but definitely check it out. And it got 16 days ago. Looks like there. So there's still some time, and I would definitely like Scott to get a little bit more support. Oh, look at that! You put it in the chat. Look at you. But yeah, Scott is a cool guy. His minis are off the hook, and I definitely want some more exposure for that. So share the link if you can. Like I said, we have no skin in this game. I just love the dude and I love his stuff. Yeah. So
I want to see him making more cool minis. Yeah, and these are scary. These are very scary.
They're scary. They are fun.
Yeah. Cast and Play is coming back with some more terrain.
Oh yeah, we have to resub.
Yeah.
Or is it just a Frontier? What is it?
We don't know yet. It's going to be a campaign. It's going to be a campaign.
Okay. That's fun. Honestly, on some of these, because I love Cast and Play, their minis are super like flavorful and they have a lot of character, but they do verge a little cartoony for me sometimes. So like, I definitely don't mind a campaign where I could kind of pick and choose what's coming down. The interiors campaigns they did were amazing. The wall campaign they did was also really cool. So I'm here for their terrain. I'd love to see what it is.
But also failing the thing where they have a campaign coming and it's not on their website.
Oh no, don't say that. Is it buried somewhere in
Y'all
their
do
Patreon feed or
better. Like it's
yeah?
probably on their social. I love you, Cast and Play. Y'all make amazing models. Make it easier to find your stuff because I want to share it off here. But basically, they're doing their take on dungeon tiles.
Oh, all
Like
right.
super animated, super awesome, square, drop into place dungeon
So we're
tiles
probably
with
talking something.
customizable walls and stuff. And they've got a free set, right? The campaign hasn't started yet because they're still taking some feedback on what they want it to be. And so they've got a free starter set that you can just download and experiment with and give them feedback on what you want it to be. I think it's called DXR tiles. But I
Okay.
might get that. I might have that wrong.
All right. Do you have any other shout outs?
No, I'm good. You?
Okay. I very likely, it's increasingly likely. Oh, hey, look, he's even here, Scott. Hey, Scott. You imagine there'll be a relaunch. Yeah. Well, I still believe in you, man. Hopefully you can get it to where you need it to go. But speaking of getting to where we need to go, I'm probably going to be roving a bit this summer. And if you have an amazing, especially 3D printing friendly LGS or 3D printing reseller LGS, I would love to visit them because I'm going to be poking around different game stores around the country. And that's going to be probably something I start doing a little more regularly. And so, yeah, if you have an amazing game store near you that is open and adaptable, and I don't care what it's for, I would love to just kind of check out what's out there in the country. I will be roving this summer, so please hit me up either on TikTok at Seventh Mastery on TikTok, or just Seventh Mastery at Gmail if you want to shoot it to me too. I would love some recommendations, especially if you are east of Wyoming. So anywhere from like Wyoming-ish to the sea, to the east one, the Atlantic one. But I would love that. I'm going to be going north and south, so I'll probably be all over the place. And hopefully having a good enough Wi-Fi to still pop on the show.
All right. Well, everybody, if you want to watch more of our show, you can do so over at bringjourgames.com. You'll find links to all of our socials as well as all of our past episodes. If you want to support the show, the best thing you can do is give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. No longer Google Play because that shut down.
Moment of silence. Okay.
Or YouTube podcasts now is a thing. And I think that's kind of why Google Podcast disappeared. And we're on all those platforms. And if you're watching us on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. That's the best way to help us reach more ears and expose more fans to the joys that are 3D printing. Until next time, I'm Jefferson J. Thacker, also known as Param.
I'm Kristen Sowers, also known as Seventh Mastery, and don't forget to use your screen protector.